Hi everybody, welcome to a little bonus episode here at JayEmm Friends. Today we're out filming with the mighty Porsche Cayman GT4 RS, something that has just about every petrolhead's attention. We're currently in between filming sessions. We've just done a load of drive-bys and we're now out to our next location where Anthony is going to get some of his signature shots with the Insta360 cams that he is very fond of. And if you want to know more about how he does all that sort of stuff, he has created a whole video on that. Follow the link in the description. It'll be somewhere up here. Anyway, we've both now had a little bit of time to drive this car, and we got talking about how we see the car, the different ways we view the car, and we thought, you know what, this would make an interesting video. I may as well let you start, Anthony. How do you feel about this car?
I love it. I'm in love. I literally got into this car and the seating position, the comfort of these seats, even though they're bucket seats, we started the car up and the sound of it, we started moving, and the firmness on the road, I just loved everything about it straight away. I feel like I'm completely at home. I felt like I'm in my happy place.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Now, just in case you weren't aware, and I do talk about it more in the main review, and if you want to know more, check that out. But this is the Cayman we all thought they'd never actually build. This is by far the most hardcore variant of the petrol internal combustion engine Cayman that there'll ever be. So it's the GT4 RS, meaning it's the GT4 and then some. The big difference between the GT4 and this is what's behind us. Not just this titanium cage, but below it is the real full-fat 9,000 RPM engine from a 911 GT3. It's down about 20 horsepower, I think, but it still makes 500 of the things, and in a 1,400 kilo car, that's more than enough. And this is quite a special thing. Lots of nice little bits of engineering all over the place, and I'll confess, I like this a lot more than the 911 GT3. We both drove that as well, and I think we came to a similar conclusion. It's very, very fast and capable, but it didn't excite me.
It's just too much for the road. Like, by the time it gets exciting, you've already given up pretty much your license and your freedom for at least a good couple of years. And I think on a track it will be incredible, but on the road, this is usable. Like, yeah, it's not too wide. On these Cup 2 tyres, you feel like you don't have infinite grip. In today's conditions, at least, given the greasiness and the grip on the road.
It's not very warm out there today. It's about 7 or 8 degrees, I think. It might be a little bit more now, but not yet. It's 9 degrees, so it's not especially warm. The tyres are not happy when they're cold, even at this kind of speed we're doing now. Like, when they're cold, that's about as quick as you want to go. However, I think one of the things I found interesting with this car is that I'm not entirely sure it's convinced whether it knows if it wants to be a road or track car, because when they released this and they did the obligatory Nürburgring time, it was 9 seconds slower than a GT3, which surprised a lot of people because they thought now the engine's in the middle, it's got basically as much power, it's actually a bit lighter than the GT3, it would at least be as quick. But Andreas Bräuninger says that the reason it's not quite as fast is that he set it up for the road instead. And though they could have made it as quick as a GT3, that would have involved making it really uncomfortable. And this apparently is his idea of comfy, which I think is probably your idea of comfy as well.
I mean, it could be a little stiffer, but given today's conditions, I think I'd rather focus on maintaining the tyres' contact with the road. Yeah. I think if it was any stiffer than this, it would be a little bit skittish.
Now, you can actually make it stiffer. There is a button down here. You press that, and it's the ride ruiner. Because even now, there are bumps in this road that I didn't know were there before.
Yes.
He loves this sort of stuff. He really does.
Because Racecar. Now, you had to drive this for 3 hours yesterday. How was that?
It was not enjoyable. Now, the thing was, everyone had told me that it's a really, really loud car. So ahead of driving this, I looked up no reviews. I didn't read anything. I didn't watch anything. That's my sort of standard policy. I don't want my opinion to be coloured by that of anybody else. However, I'd spoken to enough people who had watched reviews and they'd all said, yeah, the car is amazing, but it's also really noisy all the time. And I thought they meant that's because of this in the back. As you might have noticed, the engine is always in the middle in a Cayman, but now it's basically living with you. And it has this incredible carbon fibre intake that loses you the rear windows, but does look sensational, and means that this thing at full chat in here sounds sensational. That genuinely is not quite race car, but near us, damn it. That wasn't actually the problem. The issue is the road noise, because obviously there's not a lot of insulation and sound deadening in this car between you and the tarmac. When you're sat on the motorways, which in Britain can often be concrete ones, it's loud. It's really, really loud. I think louder than my Scuderia.
I don't know, it's been a while since you've driven the Scuderia, and maybe your memory's fading, but I remember it as being a little bit louder and slightly tinnier sound, because you get much more of that sound of the stones coming up because you don't have the carpets. It's just, you know.
Yeah, true, though you do get a lot of stones and stuff in here. You also get this cage pings every now and again. I mean, it clearly is doing something, because you can hear it. You just drive along and it sounds like someone's throwing a rock at you, but I'm pretty convinced it's the cage. When I actually first saw this car, I wasn't all that blown away by it, I have to confess. But everybody else that I've shown it to has gone, oh my God, wow, that's absolutely incredible. And I think this is a symptom of doing what I do. Like, familiarity breeds complacency. It's a great looking car, don't get me wrong. And actually all the addenda on it, the little details like the cutout and the arches. I mean, I love the vents. The vents in the corner, they are beautiful.
I want it to be carbon though.
Yeah. Although I'll tell you what, it's really curious that the one thing on the car that's not carbon is the front splitter, and that I think is a mercy. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen so many cars, especially the McLarens. They love doing these big carbon front splitters. I went on a track day in Florida, and there was a guy with a 600 LT, and he had all the carbon. And I was looking at it going, ooh, yeah, I wouldn't fancy having an off in that. And 2.5 hours later, he was being pulled out of the barrier, and I just thought, yeah, like, I think the bumper on one of those is like close to 15 grand or something if you want to buy it as an aftermarket part. And yeah, Porsche, I think, no, that's sacrificial. But what do you think? Oh, I think I know, but...
Well, you know me, James. I've got the automotive taste of a 12-year-old. I absolutely love everything about it. I love the huge wing on the back with the swan neck struts on it. I love the vents on the wheel arches. I love all of the extra aero bits on the side. And I adore those intakes, because you can actually hear them when you're actually going for it. You can hear the air going in right by your ear.
It's one of the things I actually dislike about the exhaust button. It takes away the intake noise, whereas now, even at low speed, you put your foot down and you hear it.
Yeah, you can hear that.
Yeah.
But the styling on the exterior, I think, is really fantastic. I suppose a part of me might want the lights to be just a slightly rounder shape, but I understand why they do that, so that there's this clear distinction between the Cayman and the 911s themselves. Honestly, if I was going to get a Porsche, this would be the one that I'd want to get. And I've never been a huge Porsche fan, apart from once, when I was very, very young. I was really, really into Porsche turbos for a particular reason, from a particular film.
It's not Bad Boys. It's not Bad Boys.
No, Condor Man. Who knows why? Let me know in the comments. If you've ever watched Condor Man, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with the Porsches. Look, this is the Porsche that I would want. And I know it sounds mad. It would essentially be my first Porsche. But it's the one that I would really, really, really want.
And you know something? It's really, really rare that I say this, but it is quite likely that I've probably judged the car slightly wrongly, because though I know Porsche have said, oh yeah, we tuned it for the road, at its heart, this car does want to be on a track. And this is one of the very, very few cars I've had in for a review where I've sat there going, nah, this is really the wrong place for it. Like, I would love to drive this on a track. And I bet there it is absolutely incredible.
You know what I'm like. I love this. I love it. You know, I would go to the shops in this, and I think
you would.
When we actually met this exact car, not that long ago when we were at Podium Place. We bumped into Sam from Seeing
Yep.
Through Glass, he happened to have this particular car with him at the time. The rawer, the better. If I can go and do my supermarket shop in a car that literally wants to shake my teeth out, that is my happy place.
Okay, I think this is going to be for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you what, Sam, you were right.
Now, one thing I actually don't like about this car, and this I find is a really interesting difference in the way that we view things, I do not like the interior at all. It's lovely. Ergonomically, brilliant. The steering wheel's in the right place, pedals in the right place, gearbox is in the right place. I know it looks like it's a manual, it's not. These only come as PDK, that's what all RSs are like. The screen down here is fine, it's in the right place. I am annoyed by the silly little Vicec RS sticker down here, which bugs the heck out of me, because on this car, like in the GT3 RS, the front Porsche sticker is actually, well, it's sticker, not a proper logo. That's to save weight, but then they put this in here, which looks like one of these cheap things you buy off eBay to put in cars so that everybody knows just how classy you aren't. It does have proper cup holders, this car, though, which is quite nice, and something the GT3 did not. But the thing I just don't like about this car, and I guess it's not entirely the car's fault, but the interior is just relentlessly dull. The exterior, I mean, look at it. It's all carbon fibre, bright colours and everything. It's so exciting. In here, it's just black and grey. And the other day you came and helped me film with the Cayenne Turbo GT, and that was even more dull because that's grey outside and grey inside. And so many cars like this I see, and I know people say, like, yeah, because race car, but I'm like, yeah, but it's not a race car though, is it? It's a road car. And for something like this that's so flamboyant, I would like a little bit of that theatre to be carried across to the inside. And I am saying that fully aware that my Scuderia is also black Alcantara inside, but I didn't spec that, and it has at least got yellow stitching. Like, a bit of yellow stitch in here would have just lifted the interior so much.
Yeah, I could live with a little bit of yellow stitching. In fact, that's one of the things that I'm not crazy about on my R8 GTs, that it's got the titanium stitching as opposed to the red stitching. I would have preferred red, just for a little flash of colour.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is me. I love it. I want it to be dark. It's focused, you know. It's not trying to distract you from where you need to be looking. And believe me, when you get on it, you need to be looking at this way and not be thinking in terms of, oh, what a pretty red piece of leather I have around this bit of my car. The smile on my face says it all. This car has got so much capability to it in terms of the confidence it gives you, but also how unrelenting it is. Like, it's just pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and you're like, okay, I must have run out of revs by now. Nope, still another 1,000 to go.
You could basically floor this thing now. You're in 6th gear doing like 200,000 up. You floor it now and it will not really do anything.
Yeah, there's not much to it low down.
No.
It wants to be revved, but that's what
yeah.
makes it such an exciting car. I have to acknowledge the brakes. I love the brakes. I love Porsche brakes. The way that the brake pressure is required, it's progressive, and it allows you to be very, very precise and get a lot more feel than you would from certain other marques. For example, the R8 GT, the brakes are a bit grabby. You don't have as much...
They're not progressive.
Yeah, you can't modulate them as easily.
No argument for me on the brakes. They're fantastic. My only criticism is I think on an RS, ceramics should be standard.
I mean, they basically are. No one's going to spec one of these without the ceramics if they want to get a decent resale on it. I can't think of anything I don't like about this car, except for one thing. The fact that I probably will never be able to get my hands on one, ever. Now, I think most people watching this will know that the reason for that is because in order to even be able to order one of these, you have to be invited to do so by your Porsche dealer, and they're only going to do that for certain select people. And however those deals are done, let's just say we don't know, and I don't think I ever want to know. And essentially that means that a very, very few people get the car, and a good number of those people think, well, because I got the car, I can now sell it to someone who couldn't get the car. And because of the limited
Yeah.
run of cars, people are going to be willing to pay way over the odds.
They're making 7,000 of them, and like absolutely everything with a GT badge on, like from that Cayenne up to like a GT4 RS if they make one of those again. Like, people have started using these now as just investors' toys, and that, it kills me. It absolutely kills me. Not just because it means I can't have one, but because it means these great drivers' cars are out there not being driven. And I feel like we've got this moment. This car is like a real last gasp for that heroic engine in the back. And it just is tragic to me that these cars are going to be treated like a commodity, like a piece of, you know, rare metal or something to be traded. And that's just, it breaks my heart. As a petrol head, it really, really breaks my heart, because it also makes my life difficult. Because, you know, if I was to say to you, hey, Anthony, you can have one of these for 125 grand, I'm pretty sure you'd be down at the Porsche dealer now.
I'll be there.
But the problem is, like we've said, like, if you want to buy one of these, so this particular one is just under 140 grand, and it's got the Visac pack, and it's got loads of stuff on it, and most of them are probably going to be about that money new. But if you actually wanted to buy one of these today, it's not going to be 140 grand. It's going to be 240 grand. I'd just refuse, even if I had the money, I'd refuse to pay £100,000 over list for a brand new car.
But you can get like a V12 Aventador, a proper borderline hypercar. Like the Aventador is like, it's at the edge of supercar, starting to get close to hypercar territory.
Like, and in terms of like sheer theatre, like, that has this car just licked.
And if what you wanted was a car that had incredible handling, great seating position, absolutely fantastic steering, handling, and incredible power, even more than this, you could get a 675 LT for that money as well.
Yeah, well, we both drove the same car, and yeah, okay, that one was worth £500,000. But yeah, you could get a 675 LT for the price people are asking for one of these, and that's an even more special thing, because that is a 300 grand car.
Yeah.
This ultimately is an amazing, incredible example of a Cayman, but it's still a Cayman.
Basically, I think James is completely wrong about everything else that he doesn't like about this car, because it is absolutely awesome. And it's too loud, James. I can't hear any more of your opinions because the car is too loud. Sorry. So if you've enjoyed this conversation with us today, and if you've enjoyed this format, slightly different to what we've done before, let us know in the comments. And of course, give us a like and hit the subscribe button. And hopefully we'll see you next time on JayEmm Friends. Bye-bye.